You live in a world where, being a sex addicted individual, you feel as though you need those behaviors to feel good. You believe you need those behaviors to be validated and wanted, loved, and nurtured. And you feel as though you need those behaviors to self medicate, to have a sense of peace, have a sense of calm, because you're aggravated or upset or stressed. And you need those behaviors like pornography, if you will, to escape life, to escape feeling. Hey guys, I'm behavioral health and sex addiction recovery coach Rob Lopicola. And last week we talked about what is sex addiction and how you use sex addiction. If you missed it, please feel free to go back to my last video. We talk about your obsession and compulsion with sexual behaviors and how you use your sex addiction as a drug. And what we're going to talk about now for the next 6 weeks are the 6 seeds of your sex addiction. Today we're going to talk about seed number 1. And if you are a man struggling with sex addiction and you're putting your relationship, marriage, your career, your future, your reputation, your health at risk, and you're filled with shame and guilt and regret, well, I help sex addicted men like you transform and change their lives, ultimately saving their marriages, saving their careers, their futures, their health, thrive as healthy individuals, and experience sex in a healthy way, healthy sexual expression. And if this is you and this resonates with you, please again subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button by the end of the video if you like the video. And if you want to throw a comment in, I would love to hear from you. In the meantime, I am free from active sex addiction, methamphetamine, and alcohol addiction for many, many years now. And I help sex addicted men break free from the addictive pattern. So again, I'm glad you're here, and I will do everything I can to help you change your life. So just to reiterate, last week we defined what sex addiction is, and we talked about how you use sex addiction as a drug. And the cycle of sex addiction, we talked about 2 of them last week, is the obsession and the compulsion. Disease of sex addiction, like any addiction, is a disease of the mind, body, and spirit. Last week we talked about the mind of the sex addict, which is the obsession. Once you start thinking about it, you can't stop. The body is the compulsion. Once you start acting out in your compulsive sexual behavior, or if you're multi-addicted with methamphetamine or alcohol, once you start, you can't stop. That's the compulsion. And then the spiritual part, the mind, body, spirit, the spiritual part is the self-centeredness and selfishness of it all. How we will hurt others and in selfish ways, break other people's hearts, break boundaries, disrespect. We'll disrespect our employers by showing up late or calling out of work often because of our addiction. We'll cheat on our partners. We'll lie and deceive others. We'll use others as objects. These are all attributes of the spiritual part of the disease, the selfishness and the self-centeredness, which ultimately, the self-centeredness and selfishness of it is really the root of our troubles. It's basically a spiritual malady. But today I want to talk about one of those seeds of your sex addiction. And interestingly, there are several attributes that most sex addicts have in common. And I want to talk about a few of those attributes before we really delve into this particular seed number 1, again, which is negative self-talk. Let's take a look at some of these attributes, and I'm curious to see if you can relate to some of these, or all of these, or at least one attribute of your sex addiction. So here we go. First, a tendency to hold a low opinion of yourself and to constantly remind yourself of your deficiencies. Also, distorted or unrealistic beliefs about yourself, your behavior, other people, and the events that occur in the world around you. You have unrealistic beliefs and distorted beliefs. A desire to escape from or to suppress unpleasant emotions, difficulty coping with stress, and an uncanny ability to deny that you have a problem. How long have you been sex addicted? And maybe you're getting to the point now because you're watching this video where you're considering the fact you may be sex addicted. I was in denial for many, many years that I was an alcoholic. I was in denial that I was sex addicted. And I'll share with you one truth that opened the door for me to take a look at the fact I might really have a problem here with sex addiction. In 2002, so we're going way, way back, I was online, which I was addicted to online dating apps and hooking up online and pornography and all that. But I answered an ad of a guy that wanted to hook up in the woods, and he wanted to have a very interesting encounter. So I went, met him in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, and parked my car, and I went deep into the woods, and I met this guy. And ultimately, what happened was he choked me, and I passed out, and I put myself in this situation. And when I woke up, he was still there, of course, and he shared with me that when he choked me and I passed out, he was considering not stopping and letting me die in the middle of the woods there. And I'll tell you, that's when I realized, wow, I have a problem that I would put myself in a situation like this. And that's great that I acknowledged I had a problem, but I still had 10 more years of active sex addiction to endure before I got arrested and finally surrendered to a new way of life. So anyway, I was in denial, and I don't know if you can relate to that. Most sex addicts are, so you probably can. But today, let's talk about that first seed of your sex addiction, which is negative self-talk. It's interesting how self-deprecation, self-loathing, and self-hatred are true core beliefs, if you will. And we're going to talk about 4 core beliefs that you have here in a moment. But that negative self-talk is just unbelievable. You live in a world where, being a sex-addicted individual, you feel as though you need those behaviors to feel good. You believe you need those behaviors to be validated and wanted, loved, and nurtured. And you feel as though you need those behaviors to self-medicate, to have a sense of peace, have a sense of calm, because you're aggravated or upset or stressed. And you need those behaviors like pornography, if you will, to escape life, to escape feeling. You may feel as though you need the sex club. You need go online on Grindr or Tinder or Scruff and find someone that wants you, because you feel so lonely, you feel so unwanted. And your self-esteem, your confidence, in essence, is a reflection of how many people are wanting you on Grindr, how many people are wanting you on Scruff, how many people are answering your ad, how many people want to hook up with you. And the more people, you feel better about yourself. And then the less people, you start to feel less about yourself. And obviously, how many times have you gotten ghosted? How many times have you been ghosted on Craigslist or online hookups and meeting men? You've been ghosted repeatedly, perhaps even blocked at times. And how does that sit with you? Then that reflects your self-esteem of being unwanted or ugly or unattractive. How many times have people put down your pictures? You're ugly, you're not my type, you don't feel good about yourself. It's just amazing how we put so much value on the area of dating apps and responses we're getting on who you are. You feel good about yourself, the more responses. You don't feel good if you get ghosted or negative responses. It's really amazing. And when you develop a sense of yourself, a sense of self-confidence, a sense of wholeness within yourself, well, your self-image, your self-confidence is not a reflection anymore of who wants you, who doesn't want you. You don't live like that anymore. And that's where I want to get you, to a point where it doesn't matter. Others' opinions of you is none of your business. And we're going to get you to that point at some point. But negative self-talk is truly what's going on in this particular seed, if you will, of sex addiction. So let's talk about those 4 core beliefs you have. I'm sure you do at least one of them. You probably have all 4. These 4 core beliefs as a sex addict. Here we are. Core belief number 1 is, I am basically a bad, unworthy person. Number 2, core belief number 2, no one would love me as I am. Core belief number 3, my needs are never going to be met if I have to depend on others. And 4, and this is a biggie, it was a biggie for me, sex is my most important need. Can you relate to 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of those core beliefs? How interesting is that? And it's really interesting that you are so driven to act out on your sexual behavior to feel good about yourself, because you don't feel good. You think it's going to make you feel good. You think that hooking up with that guy is going to finally, maybe he'll be a boyfriend or girlfriend. Maybe that person will solve all your problems, finally make you whole, and you're saved. So you run to that because you believe that. Or two, you believe the sexual encounter is finally going to give you that one fix, that one high, that one encounter that's just going to bring you to the aha moment in life where you finally have achieved. So you're driven by this, but it's all false beliefs. It's not true. It's a lie. And it keeps driving you to continue in your sexually compulsive behaviors because you continuously over and over believe the lie. So you're driven to get high on methamphetamine, go to the meth party, go get involved in your chemsex party, hook up with man after man after man, or woman after woman, or both, or go to the sex club and hopefully 20 men want you, not two. Two's not enough. One's too many and thousand's not enough, right? You need 20 men to want you. The more that want you, the better you feel about yourself because you're unworthy, because you're a bad person. No one will love you as you are. So you have to express yourself sexually because maybe at least they'll love you sexually. Or another component of not loving you as you are, you believe if your boss at your job knew the real you, they'd fire you. If your partner or someone you were dating knew the real you, they'd break up with you. Because you believe you're a bad, unworthy person and no one would love you as you are. And the denial aspect. The denial is a huge attribute to your sex addiction. You know these things, these four core beliefs, you know them now, right? We're talking about them, but yet you're in denial. And hopefully you get out of that denial because you can't do anything if you're in denial. And the fact that you believe sex is your most important need. That's how I'm going to feel good if I go hook up. But you don't, it's a lie because afterwards you're isolating, you're filled with shame, you're self-deprecating, you're talking down to yourself, you're self-loathing, and you're lying and deceiving your partner if you're cheating and flirting with other men or women on the side that your partner doesn't know about, online or offline, whatever the case may be. Crossing boundaries with people, seeing if they're available for you by smacking them on the butt or shaking their hand a certain way to see if they're flirting back, or the way you dress, because you feel the most important need is to be satisfied sexually on some level to validate who you are or numb the pain you're experiencing with your own loneliness. How interesting is that? So again, the first seed of 6 is negative self-talk. And if you can relate to that, subscribe to my channel, hit the like button. That like button shows me that you can relate to the negative self-talk. And if you want to change and transform your life, if you want to start really taking a true look at your sex addiction so you can change your life and become authentic, become a truly authentic, sober individual with healthy sexual expression, please watch my free 10-step strategy session. It's 30 minutes long. It's on my website, sexaddictionrelief.com. I'll have the link below. It'll begin the process of changing your life and healing you from your sex addiction. So next week, we go into seed number 2. I'm going to keep you in suspense and not tell you what it is. I hope to see you again next Tuesday. You be well. Take care. God bless.